Hi, in this lecture I want to discuss the discussion settings. We touched the discussion settings briefly in the Gravatar lecture, which is the first one in this section of this course. However, I'm gonna dig deeper in this section in this lecture, so let's go ahead and click on the discussion in the settings. So inside here, I will go through each of these options available and explain the logic behind them. The first option you have basically states that your blog or site should attempt to notify any other blogs or even sites linked to from the article. So what this basically means is that, let's say one of your authors that you have set up a profile for and made it possible for him or her to publish guest posts, which is pretty common in the world of blogs. So basically the article might contain a few links, which it in most cases does, because this is basically one of the fundamental reasons for why people publish guest posts, and it is because they want a link on your post by contributing with rich and useful content. Once the author or you publish the post, and if this is marked, the blog is going to automatically notify all the blogs or sites that are linked from the article, say, hey, someone has published content on this blog and your link is on it. Feel free to check it out. Next one is turned on as well, and it basically states that you should allow link notification from other blogs, pingbacks and trackbacks on new articles. Let's assume that you have published a guest post on another blog. What it basically means is that in this case, this blog is going to send you pingbacks and trackbacks and say, hey, someone has published new content with your links containing it and you might wish to check it out. Now the problem with this is that in the past this used to work very well. However, then all the spammers got a great idea, which is to basically send you a lot of false pingbacks and trackbacks and hope that you will basically put a link to their site, because obviously they are doing their best to build links to your site by publishing your URL on their blogs. Depending on who you ask, you will get different answers, just like in the previous lecture when we discussed reading settings. In my case, I don't consider this being a huge problem unless you have a really big blog that is getting thousands of visitors per day. So I'm gonna to leave this on because I consider it being an important part of building your visibility online. However, later in the future, when your blog grows and you have thousands of visitors per day, you might wish to evaluate this option and maybe turn it off. The next option decides whether you should allow your visitors to post and comments on new articles. These settings could easily be overridden for individual articles, just as you can see on the screen. And obviously you should allow people to comment on new articles. However, further below you can see that we can set up a different rules for commenting, and this is something I like doing because it filters out spammers from the real people that actually want to contribute with useful comments. So the first thing you want to do is to make sure that author must fill out name and email to comment. Second, you can see that you can also mark the users must be registered and log in into comment. I like to turn this on as well. Next, you can also choose to automatically close comments on articles older than 40 days. This one is also worth discussing, because what if someone comes to your blog like after 14 days and wanted to contribute with a useful comment? Then he will not be able to do so because you have obviously closed the comments. So I will leave this one as it is. Next, we have the options to enable whether we should allow threaded or nested comments and how many levels we are going to allow this for. So leave this as it is, because basically it will not matter so much unless you have thousands of visitors to your blog each day. Further, we have break comments into pages with 15 top levels comments per page, and the last page displayed by default. Also, comments should be displayed with the older comments at the top of each page. I would also recommend you to leave this as it is and just move further. Now, we have the ability to be emailed each time someone posts a comment or when a comment is held for moderation. Personally, I like to uncheck those boxes, and the reason for this is because I do not want to be bombarded with emails each time anyone posts a comment or some comment is held for moderation. I like to log in once per day, specifically in the morning, and check, hey, has anyone posted a new comment on posts, or is there a comment that is held for moderation that I need to check out? Now, some people might disagree with this, but let's imagine that you have like thousands of visitors per day, and that let's say 50 to 100 of those people comment on your posts. You must realize that you will be basically bombarded with emails, and that you will spend all your time commenting on people's comments and also moderate the comments that are held for moderation. So I think your time is spent better doing something more creative than just taking care of comments. Next, we can decide what to do before a comment appears. You can choose this one, that the comment must be manually approved. This is something I like to check, because I want to manually approve all comments that are posted in order to control what is being posted on my site. Next, we have the opportunity to manually approve each comment that is being posted on our blog or site, which is something good, and I strongly recommend you to keep this turned on, which is done so by the WordPress per default. Also, I would recommend you to turn the option comment author must have a previously approved comment, because this is going to highly limit the amount of spammers that are going to post on your blog or site. Further, we have the comment moderation, and here it states whether you should hold a comment in the queue if it contains 2 or more links. Usually, a common characteristic of comment spam is a large number of hyperlinks in the comment being posted. So if a comment has 2 or more links, in most cases this is going to be a spam comment. You can also set up a trigger word, as you can read here. When a comment contains any of these words in its content, such as name, URL, email, IP, etc., it will be held in the moderation queue. So you can specifically type in an IP address here. Simply put, if someone comes from this IP address, each comment is going to hold in queue for moderation. You can also add a comment blacklist. So basically, when a comment contains any of the words specified in this box, for example a URL, each comment that contains this word is going to be put in the trash, which is really great, because sometimes spammers usually like to take the short approach and comment with same content that they are using for thousands of other blogs. Further below we have the avatars, and if you recall, in the previous lectures we discussed the avatars, or the gravatars as it is called in WordPress, and basically show avatars is turned on, and the maximum rating is turned on G, which is suitable for all audiences. default avatar user should have when he comments on the post should be blank, because this saves the bandwidth on your hosting account, which prevents you from paying more in the end, because sometimes hosting companies can actually charge you for using more bandwidth than you specified when you signed it up. So this is basically it. Just click on Save Changes and you are done for this lecture.